Welcome back to the Sports Business Leaders Podcast. My name is Justin Tichinell, and Sports Business Leaders is a community and event series for innovators, founders, and entrepreneurs in sports to share ideas and explore potential collaborations. On the podcast, we like to highlight community members that are making change, and on today's episode, we have a very special guest. So I'm excited to introduce Carl Pickens, who was a standout at the University of Tennessee before making his mark in the NFL with the Cincinnati Bengals and the Tennessee Titans. And in his NFL career, he was a two-time Pro Bowler and one of the most dominant receivers of the 1990s. In this episode, we'll talk about Carl's journey from high school to college to the pros, the lessons he learned along the way, and what it takes to perform at the highest level. So whether you're a football fan, an athlete, or just someone who loves a great story about success, this is a conversation you're not going to want to miss. So without further ado, let's dive in. Carl, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Just diving into your career, Carl, your career was obviously filled with a lot of highlight reel moments with multiple 1,000-yard seasons, an Offensive Rookie of the Year award. Now, looking back, what were some of the key habits or mindsets that helped you sustain success at such a high level for a long time?
I think first and foremost, when I got there, I think I missed the two Super Bowl seasons. Obviously, I think it was the '88, and I think the other one was either '82 or '85. I missed those seasons. Um, I think my rookie year we were 4-12 or 3-13 or something like that. It wasn't. We didn't win a lot of games, and my receiver coach at the time, Richard Williamson, who's gone now, he always stressed to us that in our room, in our receiver room, we should be prepared to play. Know what we're doing, know all of our adjustments, and he made it a point to emphasize that make sure anybody in this room is not the reason why something goes wrong. Meaning, be prepared to play, be ready to go. So that's the approach we took. Even as a rookie, I was still running the offense, so that helped me out a lot. He kind of spent a lot of time with me, teaching me to study film, teaching me to read defenses. So my rookie year, even though I got the AFC Rookie of the Year, I struggled a lot. And but that second year is when things were a little bit easier for me as far as the offense, as far as my surroundings, just as far as being comfortable playing pro football.
Absolutely. And your rookie season, Carl, was that Boomer Esiason? Was he your quarterback at that point?
Boomer was there. We had drafted David Klingler that year, but Boomer was our starter, and we were running a no huddle offense, and it was tough for me to pick up. I struggled a lot, and Boomer was very patient. Great guy, great quarterback. He was very patient with me. He had to be, but I think that rookie year was definitely a learning experience.
Yeah, and just from me being a football player, not obviously at the same level as you,
Yeah,
but in college at Gettysburg, one of the big things that like I've learned from my football career is just being able to transition and understand that you always have to, stay up with the times. You can never stay content with what you did yesterday because
yeah,
something new can come the next day.
yeah.
So with your transition from UT and all the success that you had in college, can you talk about what that was like, from college to the pros and then from your rookie year to the success that you saw in the years afterwards?
Yeah, exactly. With in college, I was, pretty good. I had established myself as being one of the, better guys in that conference. So when you go to the next level, all that goes away. You have to prove that again. You have to start from ground zero. Yeah, you were pretty good in college, but it's a different level. So you have to start all over again to, establish yourself and learn everything else and try to do that same thing again. Same thing from high school to college. You're good in high school. You've got to start from ground zero in college. Now I'm in college. I've learned everything. I'm pretty good. Then I get to the pros. I'm back to zero again. So those three stages, you just continue to grow. And like I said, after that rookie year, um, I had a grasp on it. I knew what I needed to do. I was, like I said, familiar with everything. Okay, I'm in the big leagues now, so I have to step my game up. But at the end of the day, Justin, it was still 100 yards long, 50 yards wide. It was still football. It was just faster. When you hear guys talk about, oh, it's faster. Yeah, it is. The guys are faster. Things are happening faster. And on the pro level, you have to learn a lot more. You have to know a lot more. So those two adjustments, it took a minute, but once I got my foot in the door, I was off and running.
Yeah, and just from our lens, with a lot of our community being in the sports business world, you talk about how you have to make those transitions, and just thinking about that from the lens of sports business, can you talk about what some of the lessons you've learned in football and making those transitions have been, and how that's applied to other areas of your life?
Yeah, I think in professional sports, that's what it is. Professional. So you have to be professional. You have to carry yourself, as a professional at all times. You have to be on time. You have to do what is asked of you. You have to honor your contract. Those are the things that come along with being a professional. You have to be a team player. You have to sacrifice some of your own ways, to help the team. So as far as being a professional, that's part of it. It's not only just playing football, but you have to abide by the rules and regulations just like everybody else does. And once you carry that mindset into everything else, then it's a positive atmosphere, and guys and people want to be around and make an effort to do the right things.
Yeah, and building a successful team, like a sports team, is so similar to building a successful business,
Yeah.
where you have to put the right pieces in the right place. And going back to everything that you've just talked about, like those fundamentals, it just goes back to everything that you learn as a young person, even before high school, where if you're on time, and just those little details just make the difference. And
Mhm.
if you conduct yourself in a certain way, you know that that's a lot of times going to make the difference between success and failure. So that's great. Now, Carl, I've obviously had a chance to, get to know you a little bit, and watch some of your highlights throughout your career. And you've played with and against some of the greatest athletes in NFL history. So can you talk about who were some of the toughest competitors that you faced, and what did you learn from some of those matchups that have helped shape your, whole philosophy?
Yeah, a lot of people. I've gone against a lot of guys, but a lot of people don't really talk about a cornerback named Aeneas Williams. I think he was with the Cardinals at the time. This guy was solid. He was fast. He was strong. He could run. Never really said anything. Just played his part. Just did his role. I had a hard time with a lot of guys, but Aeneas Williams was one of the guys that I really struggled with because he was just so strong and he was just so athletic and he could run.
Yeah. No, it's so cool. And just thinking about this from, my generation, we don't always know the people like yourself that have been, in generations past. So it's so cool to just hear about your perspective and your career from, this for the new generation. So thanks again,
Yeah.
Carl. Any last words you want to share with the audience today?
Yeah, a couple of last words. Say, my generation, the early 80s and 90s, well, 90s for me, we missed the YouTube era. We missed the Facebook and the Instagram and Twitter and X and everything else. We missed that. So in order for, us to be seen and I guess to become relevant again, YouTube is helping, I think everybody's videos are on YouTube now. You can go check out YouTube and see what's happening. Uh, Actually, you can check out me, through you guys, sports business leaders, as well as I'm on Instagram at the Carl Pickens. And other than that, Justin, that's about it, my friend.
Cool. Carl, really appreciate you as always. And for the audience out there, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Good deal.